Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya, and this is one of my cats, Cody. He's joining me for today's video, like he normally does. Today's reaction is going to be a first time for me. I'm reacting to a vlogger, and her channel is Ashley Faye Vlogs. She was recommended to me in my Discord by one of my Australian viewers, and this is a girl who is American and she moved to Australia. The video I chose today is, well, I chose it for two reasons. One, it's her most recent video, and also it's not too long. It's only like 12 minutes something, so I figured it would be a good little, starter video for her vlogs. Check it out. But this one is called Moving to Melbourne. Here's what shocked me. So we will go ahead and get started right away on this one. Here we go.
Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Ashley here. I really wanted to chat about my first impressions of moving to Melbourne, Australia in 2024.
I literally just spilled that on the cat. I'm sorry, Cody. I gave you a Diet Coke bath. Oops.
Just to preface, I did get a cat, which I will be chatting about in another video, as well as apartment updates, life updates. But if you want to see me posting a lot more in real time, make sure to head over to my Instagram or my TikTok, both at Coffee Nut. But that is why there's random cat toys absolutely everywhere at the moment. It's been such a lovely first month in Melbourne, and I really wanted to chat about like my main shocks and first impressions of moving here. But before we get into it, have you hit the subscribe button yet? I would love to get to 5K subscribers. I'm not too far off. It would mean a lot to me. If you see that red button, it says subscribe, you just click it.
Yeah, she made it to 5K. Oh, I didn't subscribe yet. My bad. Yeah, she made it to 5.36. Let's get her up there, guys.
And it would mean a lot. Thank you. First impressions of Melbourne. The weather. So I was warned about the weather here in Melbourne being, I forget the term for it, but basically in some of my previous videos here on YouTube and then on other platforms, I got a lot of comments warning me about the weather, being like, oh, be prepared for the weather, this and that, and just so many different things. But of course, someone saying it and then actually experiencing it is completely different. But I definitely do agree that Melbourne does get, I guess, the rep for 4 seasons in one day, which I swear at one point I felt this way about Tasmania.
If you're new here, I'm American. I'm sorry if you can hear my heater. It is freezing in my house. I'm from America. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Illinois specifically, in the Midwest, and we in the Midwest are very known to have all 4 seasons in one day. It's the end of April and it's freezing cold outside. Even though we have already had a good week and a half of 70s Fahrenheit. No, it was 30 degrees Fahrenheit this morning when I woke up, so yeah. So I have the heater on right now, but I guarantee you by 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, I will have the AC on. It's just the way it is.
So I moved from Tasmania to Melbourne, but I've been in Australia over 2 years now, which is insane to think about.
2 years, wow.
But it's really interesting in reference to the weather because I feel like overall the weather here in Melbourne is quite similar to Tasmania. Like, it's not that far off, which is crazy to me because obviously Tasmania is seen as a much more like frigid, cold, extreme place to live. But then it's so funny because I swear the first day last week, beginning of last week, it barely got below 25 and I was on my morning commute on the tram and someone was in a puffer coat. And I was like, this would never happen in Tasmania. Like, I feel, I mean.
So is she saying 25 Celsius or is she saying 25 Fahrenheit? Because wouldn't 25 Celsius be like really warm? Because 25 Fahrenheit is very cold. Now I'm confused.
Naturally, people are a lot more fragile to changes in weather here. And also umbrellas are a lot more common here. I swear no one in Tasmania used umbrellas, which could just be because I want to say overall Tasmania was...
You will never, ever, ever see anybody in the Midwest using an umbrella. We all have them, but we will literally never use them. We will get soaked head to toe before we pull out our umbrella. The only people I have ever seen use one are like teachers when they're standing outside waiting for kids to get off a bus or something.
A lot more windy, at least Hobart was, but no one really used umbrellas down there, but so many people use umbrellas, which I think is so normal to use umbrellas. Even when I lived in Tasmania, I was using them. Also, a lot of people use umbrellas to block the sun here as well. Like, I just feel like Melbourne in general, a lot of people are a lot more fragile to weather. 2, the amount of options Melbourne has. Now, this might not sound like that big of a deal because it's like, what? Of course, Ash, like, it's a city. You lived in Tasmania, where I don't even know what the population is off the top of my head, but quite small compared to a massive city of Melbourne. But I would say still the fact that in the little suburb that I live in, there's so much to do. Places are open past 5 p.m. I had to go to an after hours doctor.
Is it uncommon for things to be open past 5 p.m. there? Because, I mean, I know every place is different. Even in the States, you're going to find areas where some things are open all night and some areas where things are just not open very late. Here in my city, there used to be a lot more 24-hour businesses. But right before COVID happened, I think a lot of them kind of stopped doing it. And nowadays, the only thing you're going to see if you're looking for something at 3 a.m. is maybe a McDonald's or a 24-hour Denny's diner, which we do have. And yeah, I think all of our like Walgreens 24 hours, they all closed. Walmart is no longer 24 hours like it used to be here. Some places I think it probably is, but yeah. But that would really suck if everything closed by 5 p.m. Like, what about the people who don't get off work till 5 p.m.? What do they do? Like, do you have to do everything on the weekend?
A couple weeks ago, and so many options for booking an appointment, and it didn't cost an arm and a leg. Like, it was only a little bit more than what a normal GP would cost. And it was so easy, it was so convenient. I forgot what it was like to live not in such an isolated place like Tasmania. It's so refreshing. Like, I've chatted, I'm sure I'll do a bit more chatting in hindsight about leaving Tasmania and my thoughts on that in general, more in hindsight. But first off, it's just really refreshing. I love that there's so many more dairy-free options, like whether it's ice cream or pizza or Mexican food. I find that so many more cafes actually try to keep an audience like that, because here in Melbourne, especially cafes, if you're not on your A game, well, people have so many other options to go to. Whereas, for example, down in Tassie, it's like, okay, well, if the cafe isn't amazing,
Tassie?
well, that's it. Or there might be two other options,
for
and that's
Tasmania?
it. So it's kind of a bit more like the standards overall are a lot lower in other places, which again makes sense because Melbourne is a city and even the surroundings, suburbs, are just so full of life. And I really miss that. Like, I really miss living in a place full of life. But Melbourne has been so inclusive with dietaries. It's just been so awesome to see how many amazing small businesses there are here. Like, there are so many, and so many have such unique ideas. And it's just been so exciting. And then 3, going off of that, although Melbourne is such a massive city, one thing that I was really worried about moving, especially from a much smaller city, if you could call it, with Hobart, is what I loved about Hobart and Tasmania is it still had a massive community aspect. Like, I could go wherever and run into people that I knew. Both good and bad aspects to that, but overall it was really refreshing and really lovely moving internationally to be able to go around and just see familiar faces. So I was worried moving to a big city that it was going to be a bit more standoffish. Like, for example, being from the New York area in the States, I very much was like expecting maybe a bit more of that, but that's not the case at all. Melbourne.
I would have actually never guessed that she's from New York. She does not have a New York accent at all. She has a very plain American accent. But as far as cities go, I'm not a city girl. I live in a small city that only has maybe 150,000 people. But I live more rural, in the rural part of the city, more like on the outskirts. But cities are okay. I'll visit a city for something to do for fun, but I could never live in a city. However, I do understand if somebody is moving to like a brand new country, how much more comfortable it would feel to live in a big city where there's a lot more options and whatever. I think that if I were to move to another country, I would also choose to live, at least in the very beginning, in a large city, just so that I could get used to the culture easier and stuff like that. But I'm assuming that when she first moved to Australia, Tasmania was the first place she moved to, I guess. I don't know. It's my first video of hers I've ever seen. But yeah. What do you guys think? Are you guys city people? Are you country people? I'm a country people myself. I like a good bonfire, and my traffic out here is usually a tractor, and my neighbors are cows. Yeah. At cornfields as far as the eye can see.
Such a massive community aspect, which is so refreshing and makes me so happy. Even in the suburbs, running into people that you know and seeing familiar faces, and everyone has been so nice. Like, I was expecting to move to a city and run into so many cold-hearted people, but that has not been the case, and I am beyond.
So weird. I would never in a million years associate a single city in Australia as being full of any type of rude person at all, because Australians all seem so friggin' nice. They are also, all the Australians in my Discord and who comment on my videos and stuff, they are all so nice. You guys are such nice people. And I've said it to the ones in my Discord, Australians are exactly like Midwestern people, just very friendly, down to earth, hardworking, class, blue collar people. I mean, with the exception of in any major city, like maybe a Sydney, Melbourne, whatever, you're probably going to get the suit and tie people and whatever, you know, just like you might get in Chicago, New York, Seattle, whatever. But as far as the Midwest goes, that's typically the personality type out here. And it seems like the Australians that I have met through my YouTube channel are very much like the Midwestern people.
Grateful. Again, just moved here, so that could change, but at the moment, so grateful. 4, although Melbourne is a city, and just like most places in Australia at the moment, there is a massive cost of living crisis, housing crisis. Overall, I don't find the cost of things that much higher. I find it quite similar to Tassie. I think, of course, it's very relative to what you're used to and where you live, your circumstances, of course. But for me, I've found that it's not that much higher. Of course, there are some things that are more expensive than others, but I feel like it's also hard for me to say because Tasmania is kind of in a league of its own for the most part. But overall, like groceries, food, like day-to-day life, coffee, things like that, I don't find the cost of living that much higher, which is a really nice surprise because I was expecting moving to a city and having to save up so much more for going out to eat, going for a drink and things, but I find it's quite similar to everywhere else that I've been in Australia. 5.
That is surprising because usually any city, it doesn't matter what country you're in, any major city is typically going to cost a lot more. So that I am actually surprised to hear about that. So good job, Melbourne. All right, public transportation. I'm not going to say I'm shocked about this one. Australia probably has amazing public transportation. We all know the UK has amazing transportation. America, not so much. We are very much a get in your own car and go somewhere kind of place. aside from there are some major cities that do have excellent public transportation in America. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, New York and Chicago both have excellent public transportation. So those are two places that you can get around really easily in America.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, I've tripped on tram lines multiple times. And yes, I've injured myself doing so. And, you know, I have my moments. I can be quite oblivious. But my experience with public transport here in Australia is night and day better than anything I've ever experienced in the US. Europe is in a league of its own. I will give them that. And I haven't really experienced much public transport in other areas of the world. Like, I've heard great things about different parts of Asia. But public transport in Australia is so much better than the US. And specifically Melbourne, I've been just so pleasantly surprised with how easy it is, how frequent, even on public holidays and weekends, the trams and the trains run. I haven't really done much with the buses because just the trams and the trains are so convenient, but it's overall just been so nice. The only thing is it is quite expensive. Like, I swear every time I tap my Mikey, it's $6, which does add up. But I would gladly pay that knowing that I can show up to a tram stop and know that on average I'm waiting 5 minutes for a tram, max 10.
Damn,
if I
that's it?
just miss one or if there's a delay.
5 minutes?
But so nice. Even on weekends and even on public holidays. Like in Tasmania, there'd be a bus or, well, because Tasmania only has buses, once every 2 hours, if that, some days, which was horrible. And then also you can live track.
That kind of sound, I'm sorry, my heater is running. That kind of sounds similar to here with buses. Like, we don't have like a subway system in my city. It's just too small of a city. I have a train station, so if I wanted to get on the train here in town, I can take that to downtown Chicago. I can take it to downtown St. Louis. Those are two places it goes directly to if I chose to do that. I have, however, never been on a train ever in my life, but I plan to do that this year. Anyway, we do have city buses though, and you can get a city bus pretty much anywhere in town. You may have to walk a couple blocks maybe if you're I'm sorry, I don't know if you know what blocks are if you're not in the US. I don't know, whatever. You know what a block is. Anyway, you may have to walk a little bit, but there's bus stops everywhere all over this city. And so it's pretty easy to take a bus. And if that bus doesn't go directly to where you need it to go, there's Cody again, then you can get off and hop on another bus that will take you where you need to go. And I mean, obviously we're in the year 2024 and things are different, but when I was a child, for reference, I am 42 years old, I used to take the public bus by myself with my younger cousin, who is a year younger than me, when I was 11. And she was 10, and we would take the bus by ourselves to the mall and walk around the mall by ourselves. This was what, 1992, something like that. I would never let my children do anything like that now, but yeah, we used to do that. And so that was a way that we could get around as children on our own, our public transport or whatever. But
like trams and trains and everything here in Melbourne, like the technology, so nice. So nice. I'm mind blown. It's been so lovely. Thank you, Melbourne. 6. This one I think I chatted about a little bit before, but living here has definitely made this a lot more obvious for me, is how trend driven Melbourne is. Melbourne is so trend driven, which, being a city, I can most definitely understand a lot more than, say, Tasmania, or even a smaller city like Hobart. But in my experience, going to cities, living in cities, I've never been somewhere that is so trend driven. Like, for example, New York City is not this trend driven. Like, say if a cafe came out with something, or, oh my gosh, a massive trend right now here in Melbourne is panini sandwiches, or no, focaccia sandwiches. which I've yet to try, but it's on my list. But everywhere I pass, the line is insanely long. But for example, a cafe or one small business will come up with this idea, it'll get massive online, and then all of a sudden other places are popping up being like, ooh, I'm doing focaccia sandwiches. Or a big thing right now is, I think it's Good Measure. I've not been to the cafe yet. Here in Melbourne came out with this coffee beverage called the Mont Blanc, and it's like a massive thing if like your cafe does a Mont Blanc. Whereas I swear in places like New York City and literally every other city I've been to would just be like, I don't care if another cafe does.
I feel like if there's a city in America that would do that, it's 100,000% LA. They will they create all the trends, honestly. All those influencers out there in LA, that's where the trends are.
That like we're not doing that. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting. And I really want to delve into it more and get other people's takes on it, because I've barely been here a month. Well, just over a month now, but which is crazy. But so trend driven. It's so interesting. So interesting. I don't know, because well, social media is a lot more of a thing here for sure. So much more than Tasmania, which again, I'm not surprised by, but it's, yeah, so interesting. And I'd love to chat more about it. And if you've noticed any of these things, or if you've moved to Melbourne or been to Melbourne and have realized anything, or if there was anything that shocked you about the city in general, I would love to hear it down in the comments. It's so fun to me to learn more about where I'm living and different things. Like, I just still find these things so interesting. I'll have links up here, as well as I'm sure down the side you'll see some of my other content. I've done a lot more recently about, in hindsight, after 2 years, what I really wish I knew before moving to Australia. Reverse culture shocks. I recently went home to the States and different things that stood out to me. I do want to do that one. So definitely make sure to go check that out. But
I'll probably do that one next.
I'm really loving Melbourne. It could just be this is my first month, those rose-colored glasses on, but I'm really loving it, and I can't wait to explore more, and I can't wait to share with you more, and I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.
She's cute. Thank you so much for suggesting her to me, guys. Yeah, I like her channel so far. So I do want to do the other one, the reverse culture shock, when she goes back to the States again. That is the one that was originally requested for me to do. But the thing is, it's like I think I saw it was like 20 something minutes long or something. And I try not to do videos that long. I use my phone to film, and you know, sometimes I don't always have great memory on my phone, and I also like to talk a lot. So but yeah, if you guys would like to see that reaction, let me know in the comments. But this video is already getting kind of long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. But really quick, if you're interested in joining my Discord, the link is in the description and in the comments. And if you're interested in helping out my channel and supporting me any further, I have a link to my throne wish list in the description as well. Just if you want to send me a little gift or something. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and me and Cody will see you in the next one.